Ladies and gentlemen, let me share something profound with you today. Success is like farming. It follows natural laws, seasons, and patterns. You don't plant a seed one day and harvest the next morning. But if you understand the principles, if you follow the laws of the harvest, anyone, and I mean anyone, can reap extraordinary results. It's not about luck any more than farming is about luck. It's about understanding and following fundamental laws. You know what I've discovered? People often ask me, how do I know if I'm doing the right things? Well, it's like reading a compass on a journey. A compass doesn't lie. Your results are your compass. They're telling you exactly where you're headed. If you don't like the direction, the wonderful thing is you can change course today. Success is never an accident. Just like a farmer doesn't accidentally plant a field of corn, you don't accidentally build a life of prosperity. The beautiful thing is that success is less about arriving at a destination and more about who you become on the journey. Every day, you're either planting seeds of success or weeds of mediocrity. Now, if you're seeing these 10 signs, you're cultivating the right garden. Let me share them with you, because each one is as vital as sun and water are to a seed. The first sign is taking total responsibility for your harvest. This is where it all begins. You see, as long as you blame the weather, the soil, or the season for your crop, you'll never become a master farmer. Until you take responsibility for every seed you plant, every decision you make, you're giving away your power to create change. I remember when I was young and foolish, I had what I called my list of reasons why. Taxes were too high, opportunities too few, competition too fierce. Then my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, and by the way, that's Earl Schoaf, one of the most remarkable men I've ever met, said something that changed everything. He said, "Jim, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills." That day, I threw away my list of reasons why and started my journey of personal responsibility. Things changed not because the world got easier, but because I got stronger. Here's what I've learned. Life is like the changing seasons. You can't change winter into summer, but you can change yourself. Blaming circumstances is like a farmer blaming the soil. Good farmers don't blame the soil, they nurture it, enrich it, work with it. They take responsibility for the harvest by taking responsibility for their actions. The power of responsibility is that it puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. You stop saying "I hope" and start saying "I will." It's the difference between being a leaf in the wind and being the wind itself. Are you taking complete responsibility for your life's garden, or are you waiting for someone else to tend it? The second sign is having clear, written goals with a detailed plan. Success is no more mysterious than following a recipe. Without written goals, you're like a farmer without a planting schedule, hoping something grows but not knowing what or when. You see, goals aren't just wishes dressed up in fancy clothes. Written goals are like seeds you carefully select for your garden. There's magic in putting pen to paper. When you write down a goal, you're drawing a map for your mind to follow. The most successful people I know all have one thing in common. They don't trust their goals to memory alone. But here's the key. A goal without a plan is like a seed without soil. You need both. Break down your big goals, like you prepare a field for planting, one section at a time, one row at a time. The harvest doesn't come all at once, and neither does success. Your plan is your daily farming schedule. Some days you plant, some days you water, some days you pull weeds. Not every day brings visible growth, but every day is part of the process. If the weather changes, you adjust your schedule, but you don't abandon the field. And just like crops need harvest dates, goals need deadlines. A goal without a deadline is like a farm without a harvest season. It makes no sense. Deadlines create urgency, and urgency creates action. Are your goals written down? Do you have a clear plan? Are you working that plan every day? Because if you are, you're cultivating success. The third sign is your commitment to continuous learning and personal development. This is where most people miss the boat entirely. You see, Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Just as a farmer must keep learning about new techniques, better seeds, and improved methods, you must keep growing. I always tell people, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. The moment you stop learning is the moment you start dying. In my early days, I was making a mess of my finances, my relationships, everything. Then I discovered something that changed my life. Books. One book led to another. One seminar led to the next. And each piece of knowledge was like adding rich soil to my garden of success. The person who started reading wasn't the same person who finished. Every book, every seminar, every mentor added another layer of understanding. Here's what's fascinating about personal development. It compounds like interest. Every new thing you learn builds on what you already know. It's like adding nutrients to soil. You might not see results today, but over time, the difference is extraordinary. Are you investing in your personal growth? Are you reading, learning, seeking wisdom? Because if you are, you're not just planning for success, you're growing it from the ground up. Remember, everything changes when you change. Start with yourself and watch your garden grow. You see, when you plant seeds of consistent action, momentum grows like a mighty oak, slow at first, but unstoppable over time. Mr. Shoaff taught me something profound about this. He said, Jim, success is like a farmer's momentum. Miss one season of planting, and you can't make it up by planting twice as much next season. That's why consistency is everything. Most people, they're waiting for the perfect season to plant their crops. But let me tell you something fascinating. There's no such thing as a perfect season. There's only this season, this moment, this opportunity right in front of you. I remember starting my business career. I had no money, no experience, just a burning desire to succeed. I could have waited until things were perfect, but instead, I started where I was, with what I had. That's what successful people do. They don't wait for the harvest to start planting. Every action you take is like planting a seed. Each time you follow through, you're nurturing that seed. And here's the miracle. Those seeds grow into habits, and habits grow into destiny. But procrastination? That's like leaving your fields unplanted, hoping somehow next year will be better. Let me ask you something. Are you taking action every day, even small actions, toward your dreams? Because success isn't about one giant leap. It's about tiny steps taken consistently, like a farmer tending his fields day after day. Now, let's talk about something crucial. The people you surround yourself with. You know, it's fascinating. Success is like a garden, and the people around you are like the climate. Put a good seed in bad soil, and it struggles. Put an average seed in rich soil, and watch it thrive. I learned this lesson early. When I was poor, I hung around with poor people. We all had great excuses why life wasn't working. Then I met Mr. Shoaff, and he taught me, Jim, if you want to be successful, study success. If you want to be wealthy, study wealth. If you want to be happy, study happiness. But here's the key. You've got to find people who embody what you want to learn. It's like farming. You wouldn't ask a desert dweller how to grow rice, would you? No. You'd seek out someone who's successfully grown rice before. The same goes for life. Want to be successful? Find successful people. Study them. Learn from them. Walk in their footsteps. Your associations are like the weather patterns of your life. Spend enough time in negative weather, and your crops will struggle. But surround yourself with positive, forward-thinking people and watch how your garden grows. I tell people, don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations are high. You know what's remarkable? When you find the right mentors, the right circle of influence, success becomes almost inevitable. It's like having master gardeners showing you exactly how to tend your crops. They've been through the seasons. They know what works and what doesn't. Here's a question worth pondering. Are the 5 closest people in your life helping you grow, or are they keeping you small? Are they fertilizing your dreams or feeding your doubts? And let's talk about change and adaptability. Oh, this is fascinating. Success is like the changing seasons. It demands that we adapt. You can't plant the same crop the same way every season and expect different results. The most successful farmers I know, they're always learning, always adjusting, always ready to try new methods. I remember when I first started in business, I thought I had it all figured out. Then the market changed, technology evolved, and I had a choice: adapt or become obsolete. That's when I learned something profound. Success loves speed. Not reckless speed, but the speed of adaptation. You see, change isn't your enemy. Resistance to change is. Every change in your life is like a new season in the garden. Sure, winter might look bare, but under the surface, preparation for spring is happening. The most successful people I know don't just accept change, they anticipate it. They're like farmers who read the weather patterns, who know when to plant and when to harvest. Think about this. Every major advancement in history came from someone willing to do things differently. They were adaptable enough to see opportunity where others saw obstacles. When others said, "That's not how we do things," they asked, "Why not?" Adaptability requires humility, yes, but it also requires wisdom. The wisdom to know that what got you here won't necessarily get you there. The wisdom to understand that success isn't about being right. It's about being effective. You see, adapting is like learning to plant new crops. When better seeds come along, wise farmers don't stick to their old ways out of pride. They're too busy focusing on the harvest to worry about their ego. I remember Mr. Schoaf telling me, "Jim, it's not what happens that determines your future. It's what you do about what happens." Now, let's talk about something profound, the principle of service and value. This might be the most important lesson I ever learned. Success is like farming. You can't expect a harvest if you haven't planted any seeds. And the seeds of success? They're the value you provide to others. I discovered something fascinating early in my career. The marketplace pays for value, and it pays generously. Whether you're a doctor healing the sick, a teacher educating minds, or an entrepreneur solving problems, it's all about the value you bring to the table. Let me share something that changed my life. I used to ask, "What can I get?" Then I learned to ask, "What can I give?" That shift in thinking opens up possibilities you wouldn't believe. It's like the law of the harvest. You can't reap what you haven't sown. The size of your harvest will always be determined by the size of your service. You know what's remarkable about value? It's like planting a variety of crops. You can serve with your time, your talent, your wisdom, your encouragement. Each one is a different seed, but they all produce fruit in season. I often tell people, don't wish for less problems, become more valuable. Don't wish for less challenge, become better at serving. Think about this. Every fortune in the marketplace is a fortune founded on service. The greatest companies, they're really just elaborate systems of service. The most successful individuals, they found ways to serve the most people in the most effective way. Here's the miracle of service. You can't give without growing. Every time you solve a problem for someone else, you become more capable. Every time you add value, you become more valuable. It's like tending a garden. While you're helping things grow, you're growing too. And here's something fascinating about giving. It has a way of coming back multiplied. Not always how you expect, not always when you expect, but it always returns. It's one of the great laws of life, as reliable as the seasons. Don't fall for what I call the getting without giving mindset. That's like trying to harvest where you haven't planted. It never works. The most successful people I know, they're always asking, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I add value? They understand that fortune follows service. Ask yourself, are you planting seeds of value every day? Are you looking for ways to serve, to contribute, to make things better? Because that's where the magic happens. That's where opportunities multiply. Now, let me wrap this up with something important. Success isn't some mysterious force that strikes like lightning. It's more like farming. It follows natural laws. If you're seeing these signs in your life, taking responsibility, setting clear goals, investing in personal growth, practicing discipline, maintaining a positive attitude, taking consistent action, surrounding yourself with the right people, embracing change, and providing value, you're not just hoping for success, you're cultivating it. Some seasons will be harder than others. Some crops might fail. But remember what Earl Schoaf taught me. It's not what happens. It's what you do about what happens that makes all the difference. Every challenge is like a season. It passes. What matters is what you plant, how you tend it, and whether you stay faithful to the process. Success isn't just about arriving at some destination. It's about who you become on the journey. It's about growing season after season, harvest after harvest. And the beautiful thing is, the more you grow, the more you can give. The more you give, the more you grow. So what's your next step? What seeds will you plant today? Because success is always ready to grow. It's just waiting for someone willing to do the planting. Remember, life is like the seasons. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Plant well, tend faithfully, and trust the harvest. That's not just a path to success. That's success itself.